like a list of things you like go off, or just like?
My geek questions are preset because it's tradition. Everything else is what the F do you want to talk about?
Oh, okay.
General rules. This part's gonna be edited out, so it's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. General rules is we don't talk politics unless it's geek related.
Fair enough.
Like so, if some politician comes out and says video games are evil and they're causing violence, you can go to hell. We'll talk about that. Try not to drop F-bombs, but it's allowed.
Okay.
No racist jokes. Obviously, stick to politics, and if you're going to critique something...
Basically stuff that you can do in here.
Yeah. If you're going to critique something, like you say, hey, they're doing bad on this game, try and say ways they can improve it, because I like to leave things at a positive note versus just tearing things down.
Constructive criticism, for sure.
This is Jack, and since I'm in the VRC at my local school, I do not have Zane with me, my usual co-host. Zane's my little kitty you have yet to meet.
Oh, okay.
He's usually my co-host in everything I do, because he's always wanting attention. This is my buddy Cory, fellow vet.
Navy as well.
Give a brief description of where you've been and what you did first.
Joined the Navy in 2011. I was in South Carolina for nuclear engineering school for a while. I didn't make it through that school. I was reclassed and went to Virginia to work in engineering on a ship. Ended up being a damage controlman, which is equivalent to like firefighting, emergency type stuff.
He kept the ship from sinking.
Most likely electrical fires, but
he's one of those handful of jobs you never want to see them have to do their job.
Pretty much, yeah. If we're doing something like that when we failed in our like preventative maintenance, but we went to the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and stopped a bunch of places over there. My ship actually caught we had a task force on board, a Delta Force Navy SEAL task force, and they captured the Al Qaeda leader in Libya at the time. I think his last name was Al Libby. There's a cool video on YouTube of them doing it, which I only saw recently, funny enough. And then after that, he was taken off board. They had nothing really to do, so we were going around the Med, and we ended up encountering a fishing boat that had a bunch of roughly 120-ish Somali refugees on board. We rescued them, brought them on board. Our medical staff cured them of tuberculosis, so we got like a pretty big humanitarian thing for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, it was super sad. It was the worst smell I've ever smelled in my life. It was just people had literally nothing but the clothes on their back, sometimes not even that. And they were out at sea for God knows how long, and just baking in the sun. Horrible smell. And we clothed them, cleaned them up, got them cured of tuberculosis, and sent them on to Italy so they can go through whatever process they go through. But yeah, and then that was the majority of our deployment. Yeah.
What are you going to school for now?
I am reclassing from engineering to business. Engineering was not for me. It's
more math intensive than
it's a little more technical than I ended up preferring, and so business is definitely a major upgrade. I definitely feel like it fits my personality a lot more, and it'll be project management. Actually, I have one term left at PCC, and I'll be transferred to PSU for project management.
There you go. So, as tradition with Geek's Perspective, we have our set of questions we like to ask. These are geek questions that inevitably every geek will ask each other. Some do not apply because they don't fit into the fandom. So I'm going to start with the usual one. Who is your favorite hero? Now, you don't have to give one answer. If you can't clearly define it, you can answer with several, and it can be Marvel, DC, or you can switch back and forth depending on your preferences.
I'm
going to warn you, the next question is villains. Same format.
Oh, okay, cool. I like that. So I would have to say off the top of my head, the one that's always come back to is Beta Ray Bill. I really enjoy him, and I have the majority of the comics that he appears in. He is basically just the best of his species, selected to be a guardian of them as they transit to another homeworld, and he was cybernetically and genetically, or pharmacologically, whatever, enhanced, and goes toe to toe with fucking Thor. With Thor right off the bat, and then is so good that he is worthy of his own hammer, which Odin, Thor's dad, makes for him, and it's called Stormbreaker, and he goes on to fight Galactus and a myriad of other high, powerful creatures, and he just is like the embodiment of the best of the best, and that is my.
Sorry about that. Most pointing to a friend who came in.
That was my most preferred hero by far.
So in case anyone doesn't know, Beta Ray Bill, he's kind of got the horse face thing going. He does make a small appearance in Thor Ragnarok, and the rumor is he's going to be either in Love and Thunder, taking Stormbreaker from Thor, is the current running theory. He might make an appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy. He kind of fits in both realms pretty easily.
One can hope, for sure, yeah.
He does deserve his good screen time and a good actor. We're hoping. So
CGI.
So that's the only hero you want to bring up, or do you got any others? Like a DC hero you want to bring up, or even Image? Image being like Spawn, for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, actually. For DC, I'm trying to think.
Or another Marvel one. It doesn't matter. It's an open question.
See, who else do I really prefer to read a lot?
Well, we can come back to this if you want.
Well,
the next one's villain.
The only thing I can think of is that I've really like kind of keyed into that's not super typical is the Punisher as Ghost Rider in the most recent series.
That was interesting.
That was I definitely heavily like enjoyed that adaptation of the.
So Punisher, who's driven by vengeance, having the spirit of vengeance. Huh, that's scary.
Yeah.
All right, so now villains. Question 2.
Doctor Doom by far. Doctor Doom is my absolute favorite because he not only becomes infamous Iron Man at one point when he decides, I've kind of been failing at being a bad guy, although I would argue not by much. I'm going to try being a hero now for the first time, and does pretty successfully, do that as the new Iron Man, as the mantle of the Iron Man. But I don't know, man. He does so much. He usurped the power of the Beyonder and became God King Doom, and then literally ripped Thanos' spine out of his body.
Yep. I was going to bring that up.
And created Battleworld and...
it gets better. Don't forget, when the Beyonders showed up, he was the only reason we survived.
Yeah. He stood toe-to-toe with the Beyonders,
who were just wiping out existences. That's the reason why Marvel doesn't have as many multiverses anymore. It's because they said, we have too many.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Beyonders, to put their power in perspective, they took out the Living Tribunal with like 3 blasts or something, Living
Tribunal is okay. So let's work our way down. So the man above, which is Stan Lee, is the highest point. Then you have those who sit above. Then you have the Living Tribunals. They're up there.
Yeah, they adjudicate magical or power imbalances in the universe, and I believe
Galactus is around their level 2.
Yeah, they basically, I believe, are like only close to being or only close to infinity and eternity in like
raw power.
Yeah, in raw power.
And
I
want to bring up with Dr. Doom because people are like, he keeps losing. Look who he's competing with. There are 3 people who are considered the smartest in Marvel Universe, and he fights him on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Reed Richards, Iron Man, and I would argue Hank Pym being the 3rd, because Hank Pym learned magic recently.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's like, you know what? I'm going to have a room of infinite dimension because I could.
And then technically you could go into like, Valeria Richards or whatever as well.
Correct. Well, we're talking mostly humans that are on Earth because...
in the major, plot lines.
Yeah.
But Doctor Doom is just... And to his credit, everybody in his home country of Latveria, which he, rules solely by himself, a dictatorship, is an actual fan of his. Like, they're grateful for his...
He's not North Korea style. He actually does take care of his people.
Yeah. So if you're within his borders and a citizen, you have a very good life, and you are well taken care of, and he is basically like the Eastern European Wakanda. Yeah. If that makes a closer comparison for people,
Yeah. Got any other villain you want to throw out?
On the same note, Lex Luthor, because he is a human man who fights Superman.
Yeah.
Who is basically like...
Who's one of my favorite villains, too, so I completely understand.
The green and purple really does stuff for me.
I was actually going to bring up Red Sun with that one, where Superman landed in Russia instead, and Russia's taking over everything. By the way, there's an animated show coming out for that, or animated movie for that.
That'd be cool.
I already pre-ordered the shit. But Lex Luthor becomes president solely to stop Superman from taking over the world, and he beats him in a really cool way. Spoiler alert on that one.
Yeah, he's a human man, and I do appreciate. I'm not a fan of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. I do appreciate some of the lines he delivers. They're very, very poignant.
Although I'm not like Kevin Spacey has fallen out of favor. I think my favorite moment in Superman Returns was just the go ahead, say it, Lois. Superman will wrong because it just fit. Like
yeah.
He'd been trapped on this island and all this other stuff, and so we got that. Now the next 3. Now, of course, the next one is just fine, but the last 2 might not fit with you.
Okay.
If you could have any superpower, which would it be? Except for these are the questions every geek inevitably asks each other.
Yeah, and it's so hard.
You can give me a couple if you have to work your way through.
I would say telekinesis. That way I'm not doing that Superman thing where he would punch a hole through a plane by trying to stop it, right?
Because it's argued he has like a form of tactile kinesis.
Yeah.
Because his clone son does, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, kind of telekinesis in the same way that like Magneto has,
His magnetism.
magnetism, control.
Which he's pulled some shit out of his ass for his powers.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason Xavier can't find him half the time is either his helmet or the fact he alters the magnetic sphere to prevent him. And then you have his clone son.
For sure,
Yeah. Yeah. But mind you, we're arguing telepathy here. What are the defined limits of telepathy? Yeah, go to hell.
Yeah, it's it's a comic book concept, so for sure. It's got an artistic license.
So telekinesis is one.
And
if you want to give any others,
I've never been a fan of like super speed, but the more I see it in like done with the Flash, especially, it seems like it's oh man, there was an episode of one of the animated Avengers comic or of animated Avengers shows where I think it's the they're basically like the Marvel version of the Justice League, but bad guys.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then the Flash equivalent just like runs little circles around everybody, and nobody can stop him until some really unlikely thing ends up happening, and he's incapacitated. And in the TV show The Boys, based off of the Boys comic book, you
saw him run through somebody.
A-Train just like he seems like
episode.
No one can touch him, and Homelander is probably the only person that has a chance.
Because he really can't do anything to him.
Yeah, and he would just have to constantly keep running from Homelander. That's about it. But he would be able to do everything.
There's one other character who can, but I'm not going to say because it spoils a big thing in the whole comic.
Okay.
But it may be Black Noir for reasons I can't tell.
Because he's the.
Okay. I don't want to spoil for anybody.
Yeah. I remember reading about that because I was interested. That guy's actually pretty heinous, to be fair.
Oh yeah, he gets really bad too.
Yeah, I was not aware of how heinous the comic book portrayal of these things are.
That's the whole point behind the comic.
Show, yeah.
That's the whole point. And then season 2 just wrapped up with Carl Urban announcing it, which Carl Urban, you don't think he gets enough credit for how amazing his geekdom is.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, Doom, Star Trek.
Dread.
Yep, Dread, which did a great job. Unfortunately, he won't return to the role. I'd like to see a TV show for it.
Yeah, I think it'd be a very appropriate medium for that franchise.
Hell, it doesn't even have to focus on Dredd himself. He could be a legendary character who makes an appearance every now and then.
That would be, yeah.
And then it's focused on rookies trying to deal with being on the field for the first time.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a great job. And then you get to expand the universe.
That's actually a really good idea. A long time ago, I'm sure this plays into one of the facets of geekdom. The Splinter Cell games. A long time ago, there's a double agent one, I think.
Yeah.
Or one of the one where there's the two cooperative players and they're going throughout one of the levels and they say, "You think we're the only Splinter Cells?" They're like, "Yeah, we're definitely the only ones." And the whole precipice is that it's a spin-off of the main big name guy, right? Who's the
with the 3-eye thing.
Yeah, he's the clandestine Splinter Cell, and then these other guys are the kind of rookies who are just cutting their teeth for the first time, and nah, we're the only ones, and they have no idea that there's this big, massively capable guy that came before them that the whole thing is based off of.
Yeah, they did something like that with 007 at one point. They had a game where you played a rogue agent.
I think it was called Rogue Agent or something. Yeah.
No, it was Golden something.
Not GoldenEye?
It was not GoldenEye because they had the GoldenEye game, but they gave him Golden something because they were trying to call back to it because the gameplay is very similar.
Oh.
And you got to see a lot of things on the villain side, which was really cool. It was a fun game.
Yeah.
So anyway, next question. What is your favorite manga or anime? If you don't have any, just say pass.
The only thing I've really looked at consistently was Attack on Titan. And that was only in the military because I had friends that were into it. And
people get really obsessive about that one.
As soon as I was out of the military, it fell out of favor with me.
Yeah.
But it was very, very interesting getting into that for the first time and going through it with friends.
It's like Game of Thrones. You fall in love with a character and they're dead.
Yeah, and in gruesome, crazy ways and all this, twists and turns and stuff like that, and this massive destruction, Michael Bay type stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, the one that got me, and this is one of the episodes that really messed with me, was you have the super elite. You have the super elite team. We are in a public area, so people do walk in.
Mm-hmm.
You have the super elite team just get annihilated by that one Titan. We had some guests just come in, so it's okay.
Okay. Awesome.
And then the last question is, do you watch Doctor Who?
No, I don't.
Okay, because the question would be, who's your favorite Doctor?
I've watched some in the past with friends. I have to say Michael Tennant. Or David Tennant.
David Tennant,
yeah. There's some David Michael.
You're good, you're good.
Yeah.
David Tennant's usually one of the more popular.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, my roommate at the time had a crush on the girl in there, Rose, I think her name was. So that's
Yeah, a lot
why-
of people did.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up watching like Vampire Diaries and stuff because of him too. Like just because the girls were attractive. Like it's just on in the house.
A fair answer.
Yeah.
answer. But onto back to the manga and anime. I
Mhm.
would recommend watching Doctor Who if you ever get a chance.
Yeah,
it's on
yeah.
Amazon Prime.
I know everyone tells me I should.
But it's up to you. It's ultimately it's your thing.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
manga and anime, you know, I think you've heard my preferences. My Hero Academia and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. They have,
Oh yeah, Full Metal Alchemist. I've watched some of that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
especially Brotherhood because it has its definitive ending and
Mhm.
it stays with the manga. And I think it's just better. But
What's the like kind of World War II esque anime? I watched it a very long time ago, and like I think like
What'd they do?
Adult Swim. I remember something about like it was like World War II kind of era stuff, and they were like storming the steps of like kind of like a Reichstag kind of building.
I don't know off the top of my head. I know one of my Geeks Perspective colleagues, Kit, would know off the top of her head because she knows just about every anime,
Yeah.
especially the older ones.
Because that was when I watched when I was a kid on like Adult Swim or something, and that's like 6th, 7th grade.
Mhm.
So I have no clue, but I really enjoyed that at the time, along with Gundam and all the other things. That we
Have you
know.
seen Dragon Ball Abridged?
No, I have not.
I would recommend it. It's really funny. Some people even argued this is the canon version of Z instead of the actual version because it makes Goku as dumb as he should be.
I watched the Dragon Ball, the one with the like cat god. in
Oh, that's
theaters.
Super.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super. I
So
watched
that's
that.
the
in theaters.
series. Then you have the Dragon Ball Battle of the Gods, and then the
Okay,
sequel
yeah.
movie Resurrection of F, which are actually in the Dragon Ball Super itself. It's a little more drawn out, and I think done a little better.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. I ended up going with friends and watching it. I really enjoyed it because I watched it when I was a kid, but I had no concept of like continuality or whatever. Right, just broken up episodes with sporadic plot lines. Right.
Well, with the original Dragon Ball series, and I do say that this was respect, they had a lot of filler episodes because they caught up to the anime, or they just wanted to throw in actually like Goku and Piccolo driving for some random reason. That was a thing, or the 15 minutes of charging. Like they were just them trying to draw it out.
Mhm.
If you have to watch, and then people give me grief for this one. If you have to watch the original Z, I recommend Kai. It's a lot more tolerable, and you don't have to watch the filler episodes, and it shortens out the charging scenes.
Yes, yeah, I've been aware of that as well. The ones I watched from friends were the Kai ones.
And the other one would be Hellsing Ultimate specifically. That's the series version, and you have Hellsing Abridged done by Team
Okay.
4-Star, the guy who did Dragon Ball Abridged.
I do like a lot of the Hellsing mythological stuff. That'd be pretty cool. I might have to get into that.
Yeah, it's only 10 episodes long,
Mhm.
but I think each episode's like 30 minutes long, so it's actually
Okay.
pretty long. You can enjoy it, and it's gruesome.
Yeah,
It's gruesome.
I imagine, yeah.
So, you got any other geek thing you want to throw out that you want to talk about? Your favorite such and such geek wise?
I've recently started getting into a lot of the canon and legends Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
Because of the movies, and because of before the movies came out, I had a friend in the Navy who was very, 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 very into Star Wars. And he would elaborate on all of these different things and how the movies touched on them in different ways. And this was before the most recent trilogy, and it got me very interested in a lot of that stuff, in the details about them and the history to it. The true backstory to the Mandalorians and the Battle of Yavin and all this other stuff. Or sorry,
Yeah.
all of the fact that the Battle of Yavin is used as a
Time marker.
a time marker, yeah, BBY, and a lot of the what's the word expanded universe stuff that follows everything, like Grandmaster Luke and
That's the original Legends
yeah.
universe before Disney acquired it and said none of this is canon anymore.
Pretty much,
There are some
yeah.
things that are weirdly in limbo, like Clone Wars and KOTOR era, which is Old Republic era.
Yes,
Because it's in
yeah.
limbo.
Yeah.
Bane is still, as of right now, still considered canon, and Darth Revan is still considered canon. What the details of what they did, that's up in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all those theories and theories about the what is now the current trilogy and explanations of the past stuff really got me interested. So I watched 30-minute long videos of explanations of a single thing on YouTube.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good videos for that.
Multiple times because it's just so much to digest, and there's a lot of backstory to all of this.
Well, hell, my favorite character is Grand Admiral Thrawn, and there's whole comic books that are about him that I had no idea. Like the time he met Darth Vader and kept saying, "You remind me of someone like Anakin," because he's met Anakin.
Yeah, and Admiral, who's the human admiral that is in the original trilogy? He's made into a CGI character later
Grand
on.
Moff Tarkin.
Yes, Tarkin. So Tarkin's backstory and his the comic that has his backstory where he like
He's a
fights,
badass.
Yeah, where he fights the creatures on that planet. Again, this is a very long time ago. When it was explained.
His back is covered in scars.
Yeah, exactly. And that like blew my mind. I was like, this makes the movie so much better. And like obviously,
Yeah, Cushing's did a great job with the character.
Yeah, I had
too.
a very good, I got a taste for all that stuff when I started like realizing, oh my god, a lot of the movie stuff is actually really badass.
Yeah, like there's a lot of details that go behind it. Like even the guy in episode 2 where he goes, you want to buy some death sticks? No, you don't want to buy me death. He goes on to be an arms smuggler for the Republic, or not the Republic, the Rebellion.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of details you don't know. This is no longer canon, but Shadows of the Empire, both the game and the book, is amazing. It explains between episode 5 and 6 pretty well. There's just a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. And a lot of the weird stuff you don't really like think about, like the history of the Hutts, and they're like
The Hutt cartel.
their civilization and like social interactions and cartel and like
or built around crime.
Yeah,
They're just a giant mafia family.
Exactly. That's why Huttonese is spoken everywhere because they just like
the two common languages are either Huttese or Basic. You can use just about anything. Those two to talk anyway.
Yeah.
Whether you're in the Hutt space and the criminal side, or if you're in the legal side.
Mm-hmm.
So
and I think there was a couple theories about how the exploding Death Star would have like annihilated the entire Ewok planet just because of the physics of it. Right?
Oh yeah.
Basically, it was just rain down hellfire on these poor little creatures. Which that's the friend that got me into this is a big 501st guy.
Oh yeah.
And so he absolutely
501st is a fan group. It's recognized by the group. It's Vader's Fist. They are the troopers that follow Vader. There's another group called the Mandalorians. Kind of different. Does the same thing. Both groups are amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And so
that.
Oh no, it's all good. And so the 501st being the ones who have this like ridiculously capable like battle history behind them get obviously annihilated by little like teddy bear creatures.
Well, the argument is that by that point it wasn't the 501st.
Yeah, they
clones
subbed in people, right?
Yeah,
they're basically turned to recruiting people
because they stopped using clones after the Republic because the last explanation was the Kaminoans had created anti-clone clones and who were specifically trained to beat those clones. And then they're like, we need to stop doing that. So they started using different batches. So there were still some clones, but they weren't Jango Fett clones or Boba Fett copies, whatever you want to say. And what was the other thing? And they started actually recruiting people, which I wonder what the health benefits were like.
Yeah, I always go back to the Family Guy like skit where they make fun of the like.
I just want a rail, just a safety railing.
Yeah.
But you'd be leaning on. That sounds so military too.
Yeah, it was like me and my wife met on Tatooine, or like the Empire helped pay for my college, or whatever, right? Like it's just really ridiculous. It was like, oh my god, they may have had something exactly like that.
They had to have talked to a vet for it. But that's all the time I'm going to do for right now. Cory here's going to make regular occurrences, hopefully.
Yeah,
depends
absolutely.
on the situation of his work, school. School takes priority.
Absolutely. Thank you again. I think my voice has been